we're grown. We're in our 40s. And what I think is that God somehow managed our timing so that we spent time after our long-term relationships. We both came from 10-year relationships. And we really worked on ourselves to really understand what healthy love is like.
You know, just always instances where I just knew that this wasn't gonna work out for me, right? So I had to figure out how to change without losing everything.
Jeezy and Jeannie are getting divorced, and he's the one that filed. And this isn't from like TMZ. This is from agency Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
The whole internet's still spinning from this one. Jeannie Mai and Jeezy, once the definition of grown and healed, are now straight up at war. What started as a quiet, clean-cut breakup has turned into one of the messiest divorces in Hollywood right now. And what's wild, Jeannie's not playing nice anymore. She's dragging him from every angle, accusing him of using her, lying to her, and dumping her the second she gave him everything he ever asked for.
I swear, any woman who has been divorced, in that year, you have red flags if it's not going.
This all exploded when Jeezy blindsided Jeannie with divorce papers. No warning, no sit down, nothing. Just straight paperwork out the blue. Even TMZ didn't get the scoop first. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution did. That's how official it was.
Loved black guys, yeah. I did. But for me, dark meat on the side, white keeps me mean and lean. You know, that's why I married white. Yeah, that's what I like.
One morning, she's promoting his book, calling him her inspiration. And the next thing she knows, she's being served. People close to Jeannie said she was shattered. She didn't see it coming, and honestly, neither did we. Because the last time we saw them together, they looked like a power couple, matching fits, family events, her posting all lovey captions about how proud she was of him for hitting the New York Times bestsellers list. But now, it looks like Jeezy had been planning this move behind the scenes for months. Fans are calling him cold for it. And Jeannie? She's done staying quiet. Word is she feels used, like he convinced her to break every single boundary she had just to turn around and throw her away when he was done. If you've followed Jeannie since The Real, you know her story. After her first marriage ended, she swore she'd never walk down that aisle again. Her ex-husband, Freddie, cheated on her, got another woman pregnant within weeks of their split, and left her heart in pieces. She told everyone she didn't want marriage, didn't want kids, didn't even want to risk that kind of heartbreak again. And then Jeezy walked in. Cool, composed, and calculated. He gave her what she thought was peace.
I have to tell you that getting to know Jay, you guys know him as Jeezy, he's Jay to me. Getting to know him has been one of the most beautiful experiences of my life.
He made her believe in love again. That's why this hurts so bad. Because Jeannie didn't just marry him. She changed for him. When they met, it was like a movie.
So I walk in, I sit down, and 4 hours later, we shut down the sushi restaurant. We had the most amazing deep talk about our greatest lessons in life, our greatest mistakes. It was super vulnerable, right? So then after that, he looks at me and he's like, yo, you wanna I don't wanna go home. Do you wanna go salsa dancing with me? Wait, yeah.
They'd both come out of long-term relationships, both trying to heal. She told fans, God managed our timing perfectly. We spent time learning what healthy love was, and it sounded beautiful.
From a big family, and Jeezy's family is big, and it's just everybody. So I'm thinking you might want to add a sibling to the family. Are you looking at that? This is like the time.
So we are open to it, yes.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely,
okay.
Yeah.
They went on their first date and ended up shutting down a sushi restaurant, talking for hours, laughing, even salsa dancing after. 8 hours later, she said she knew he was the one. She fell hard, so when he proposed less than 2 years later, she said yes without hesitation, even though it went against everything she'd promised herself. She married him, and she didn't stop there. The woman who once said she never wanted kids decided to have his baby. When their daughter Monaco was born, it felt like a fairy tale. Social media loved them, the glamorous power couple raising a beautiful baby girl, and Jeannie looked genuinely happy. But now that the curtain's down, people are saying that fairy tale was built on a script Jeezy wrote for himself. Because while she was posting family pictures, he was allegedly signing divorce documents months in advance. He'd already made up his mind while pretending everything was fine. And the kicker? He even wished her a happy Mother's Day online, calling her the glue that holds us together. The same man who'd already filed the paperwork. That's some Oscar-level acting. Now Jeannie's furious. Insiders say she's calling him out for manipulation. She says he knew she didn't want to remarry, knew she didn't want more kids, but convinced her anyway, just to make himself look like the reformed man, the family guy. The second she gave him what he wanted, the wife, the image, the child, he bounced. And when she realized it, she wasn't just angry, she felt played. Her friends say she's been venting nonstop, saying he used her spirit and broke her foundation. Meanwhile, Jeezy's been playing it cool. No emotion, just slick quotes on Instagram about growth and moving on. He posted, "To focus on who I'm becoming means letting go of who's not coming with me," which everybody took as a direct shot at Jeannie. Fans were quick to point it out. One said, "That's crazy. You can't post self-growth quotes when you blindsided your wife with divorce papers you signed months ago." And it gets deeper, because apparently Jeezy had already notarized the divorce paperwork in June, but he didn't file it until September. So for months, while Jeannie was flying to Vietnam with him, taking family photos, throwing Father's Day parties, he was sitting on that secret. She was celebrating his book success, saying she was proud to walk beside him, and he was quietly planning to walk away. When that news broke, fans were done. People were dragging Jeezy left and right. One person said, he knew he was going to leave her, but he still let her love him out loud. That's evil. Another wrote, "You can't convince a woman to have your baby after she swore she never wanted kids, then ghost her on marriage. That's not healing, that's hunting." But Jeezy's team has a very different story. They're saying she's not the victim she's pretending to be, that Jeezy found out she was allegedly getting too close to her co-host, Mario Lopez. Reports say he discovered flirty texts between them. Some even claim she was sneaking around while still pretending to be the perfect wife. That rumor has been floating around for weeks, but Jeezy's side just added fuel to it by saying he stayed quiet for months, trying to keep his dignity while she played the part. Now, whether or not it's true, the internet split. Some people think Jeezy's just spinning the story to cover up how cold his move was. Others think Jeannie's innocent act is all PR, because let's be real, she's had some questionable comments in the past. Old clips resurfaced of her talking about how she loved black men, but needed white meat to keep her lean. Yeah, she said that. And the internet's not letting her forget it. So right now, both sides are playing dirty. Jeezy's dropping cryptic quotes like, "The truth don't need validation." And Jeannie's been posting about betrayal and seeing people's true colors. It's no longer about healing or peaceful co-parenting. It's a straight-up war of words. And every post, every interview, every silence feels like a shot fired. Because what started as a love story that made everyone believe in second chances just turned into a masterclass in heartbreak, betrayal, and image control. And if Jeannie's hinting that she's ready to expose what really went down, then we're not even close to the end of this story. Jeannie tried to hold it together at first. She played calm, posted polite things about healing and co-parenting, and even thanked fans for their support. But that quiet didn't last long, because when the betrayal finally sunk in, she realized she wasn't dealing with heartbreak. She was dealing with humiliation. She had gone on national TV defending this man. She sat on The Real telling millions of women how Jeezy helped her find herself again, how he made her feel safe. She told them he was the reason she believed in love after being broken. And now, that same man had filed for divorce behind her back like she was just another story in his autobiography. Behind the scenes, Jeannie was furious. Friends said she couldn't stop repeating one line. "He made me break my own rules." And that was true. Every wall she built after her first marriage, every boundary she promised herself she'd never cross, she let Jeezy tear it down. She gave up her stance on marriage. She gave up her stance on kids. She gave him a piece of herself that nobody else had touched in years. And now he was gone. So when Jeezy's team started hinting she'd been getting too friendly with Mario Lopez, that was the last straw. She knew exactly what that meant. They were trying to flip the narrative, paint her as the problem, and make it look like he was the victim. Jeannie didn't clap back with words. She let the silence scream first. She stopped wearing her wedding ring, deleted a few old couple photos, and then came the quote posts. Things like, "Sometimes peace means walking away from people who built chaos around you. A man who loves you doesn't embarrass you. I healed you, and you hurt me." Each one hit harder than the last. Fans started stitching her old interviews with those new posts, and the story started writing itself. Then came Jeezy's turn. Out of nowhere, he sat down for a calm, almost chilling interview. He said, "You know, there were just times when I realized this wasn't going to work for me. I had to figure out how to change without losing myself." He didn't name Jeannie, but he didn't have to. Everyone knew who he was talking about. And that one clip went viral in minutes. People started analyzing his every word, how he said, "change without losing myself," like he was the one trapped. But others called it gaslighting at its finest. One fan wrote, "You don't blindside your wife with divorce papers and then talk about self-growth. That's not healing. That's cowardice." At the same time, a new detail surfaced that made everything worse. TMZ revealed that Jeezy had already hired a divorce lawyer 3 months before Jeannie even suspected anything. He'd been building his escape plan while she was planning family vacations. And the proof was right there in her posts. In June, she was in Vietnam showing Jeezy her culture, introducing him to her roots. Fans remembered how she said that trip was deeply spiritual. Now it looked like she was bonding while he was plotting. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was public. Jeannie's entire brand was built on transparency, love, and growth. And now the same people she'd preached to were watching her get humiliated in real time. Then, like clockwork, the cheating rumor caught fire. That clip of Jeannie and Mario Lopez laughing on set, him teasing her giggling, the easy chemistry, was suddenly being replayed like it was evidence in court. Blogs titled it "Flirty Energy," and fans flooded the comments with speculation. Jeezy's silence only made it worse. He didn't deny the rumor. He just started posting cryptic quotes about truth always revealing itself. That's when Jeannie finally snapped. She fired off a post that said, "I see what you're doing, and I'm not scared of your version of the truth." Tell it all. That one sentence flipped the internet. Everyone knew she was talking to Jeezy. And suddenly the story wasn't about divorce anymore. It was about revenge. Old clips started resurfacing again. People pulled up Jeannie's old statements about loving black men but marrying white men, and the internet twisted it into a new narrative that maybe she never really respected Jeezy, that maybe the marriage was a brand move. But Jeannie's fans clapped back fast. They said, "She changed, she evolved. Don't rewrite her story to protect him." Meanwhile, Jeezy doubled down on the self-growth storyline. He kept appearing in podcasts, calmly saying things like, "Sometimes love turns into lessons," but people could see the subtext. He was painting himself as the wise one, the bigger person, while Jeannie was left looking emotional. And that's exactly what she hated, because in her mind, she wasn't just fighting for her dignity, she was fighting against the narrative of every woman who gave everything to a man who swore he was healed. She went quiet again after that. But fans noticed small details. She unfollowed him, started posting photos without her ring, and appeared at events glowing, but distant. The smile looked rehearsed. The caption under one post read, "I've learned that silence is the loudest form of strength." It was clear she was done defending him. But what nobody knew yet was that Jeezy was also holding a secret of his own. Because when the full reason behind his divorce filing came to light, it would shake both their images in a way neither could repair. By the time the third week of their breakup hit the blogs, the calm was gone. Jeezy wasn't the quiet, reflective man people thought he was. Jeannie wasn't the soft-spoken talk show host anymore. What started as polite statements and vague captions turned into an emotional tug-of-war played out in public. When Jeezy's interview dropped, the tone changed instantly. He looked composed, but the words, ice, cold, you can love somebody and still realize you're not supposed to be with them. Sometimes people grow apart. That's just real life. It sounded mature until you remembered he'd filed months earlier without saying a word. The comment section went crazy. One fan said, "No, bro. Growing apart is when you talk it out. Filing behind her back is straight betrayal." Another added, "He's trying to sound peaceful after he already lit the match." And then Jeannie made her next move. She sat down with a podcast host she trusted. No glam team, no big stage, just her voice. For the first few minutes, she kept it professional, talking about motherhood and the importance of boundaries. But then the host brought up the obvious. "How are you holding up?" Jeannie took a breath, stared straight into the camera and said, "I think I finally learned that love without respect isn't love. You can build a house with someone, raise a child, share a dream. But if they see you as temporary, you were never home to them." It wasn't a direct name drop, but everyone knew she was talking to Jeezy. That clip went everywhere, millions of views overnight. Fans started remixing it into TikToks with captions like, "When you realize he loved the idea of you, not you." But Jeezy wasn't done. 2 days later, he posted a black and white photo of himself in the studio with the caption, "Truth don't need noise." People instantly assumed he was recording a diss track. The internet exploded. Team Jeannie versus Team Jeezy, and suddenly the divorce wasn't about lawyers or custody. It was about pride. Rumors started flying that Jeannie was writing a tell-all book. Her team denied it, but insiders said she'd been journaling every detail since the day the papers dropped. Meanwhile, Jeezy's camp leaked that he'd found emotional evidence of her closeness with Mario Lopez months earlier. Late-night texts, friendly dinners, private inside jokes. Jeannie called it character assassination. Her rep released a short statement saying, "There was never any infidelity." Jeannie's only mistake was believing in someone who used her healing as branding. And that line hit the timeline like thunder, because deep down, everyone could see it. Jeezy had built an image off her softness, her grace, her light. He'd rebranded himself from street legend to family man, husband, father, philosopher. And now that mask was cracking. By the end of the week, both had gone radio silent. No new interviews, no posts, nothing. Then Jeannie broke the silence again with one final video. No captions, just her voice narrating over home footage of her and their daughter playing in the yard. You don't lose yourself when someone leaves you. You lose yourself when you stop believing you deserve better. It was haunting, beautiful, and raw. Within hours, the video had over 1 million likes and a comment section full of women saying things like, "This is healing energy," and "He didn't destroy her, he freed her." Jeezy responded the only way he knows how, with subtlety. He stepped out at an event with a blank expression, no ring, dressed like a man who'd already moved on. When reporters asked how he was doing, he smiled and said, "I'm focused on my peace." But peace doesn't trend. Pain does, and the public wasn't ready to move on. Blogs were still dissecting old photos, lip-reading old interviews, trying to figure out exactly when the love started dying. Fans caught on that Jeannie had liked a few cryptic quotes, one that read, "Some people study you just to learn how to hurt you." At this point, everyone agreed on one thing. Jeannie didn't just lose a husband, she lost a version of herself she built around him. And Jeezy? He lost the public's sympathy, because no matter how clean his interviews sounded, no matter how calmly he spoke about growth, people remembered the timeline. They remembered that he'd filed months before she even knew. They remembered that while she was calling him her safe space, he was already planning his exit. In the end, this wasn't just a breakup story. It was a cautionary tale about love that demands sacrifice, about trusting someone who promises forever but plans a deadline. And whether you side with Jeannie or Jeezy, one thing's clear. This divorce stripped away the PR gloss and showed what really happens when image meets emotion. Jeannie's already back on her grind, hosting, smiling, living. But the glow hits different now. You can see it in her eyes. She's not trying to prove she's happy. She just is. And Jeezy? He's out promoting his self-growth book while the world keeps replaying her line, "Love without respect isn't love." So maybe that's the final message. He taught her how to love again, but she taught him what love actually costs. And if you've ever been used, blindsided, or underestimated, you already know how this story feels. Because sometimes the prettiest couples hide the ugliest endings. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one.